Hey there, y'all. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about something that's similar to something that I already talked about. I did the evolution of my gender identity a couple weeks ago, and now I want to talk about the evolution of my sexuality, because it has been a strange road, and I think just by the title of this video you can tell weird shit has happened, and I think you guys would find it interesting. So in middle school, I realized that I like girls. I had girl crushes. I had a crush on a female teacher, which was like my big gay awakening. Oh my god, I like my teacher. She was so pretty. But I didn't really have the language for it. I knew from like when I was in elementary school, I learned what the word gay meant, but I didn't really attach it to anything that had to do with me. And then I was like, well, I just like girls. It's not that I'm gay or anything. I just like girls. And so I found the term bisexual, and I was like, maybe that's me. I like girls, and I'm sure I like guys, even though I hadn't really had a guy crush at the time. But I stuck with bisexual for a couple of years, and it felt right for me. And just out of nowhere, I think my mom and I were talking about something completely different, and I mentioned that I had a crush on one of my classmates, and she was like, oh, who is it? And I said the name of the classmate, and she was like, oh, it's a girl. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, that's cool. Like, I was afraid she was gonna make it a deal or something, because my parents were pretty religious. Like, they didn't go to church every Sunday, but they still were pretty religious. But my mom was cool with it. She was just like, all right, whoever you love, you love. My mom was great. I love my mom. And she kept it a secret. She's like, don't tell your dad yet. Let's wait. I might tell him when you want me to, but like, let's just keep it a secret for now. And I was fine with that, because I didn't know how my dad was going to react, and I felt like he might actually react worse than my mom, so I was perfectly fine with keeping it a secret. And then one day, I believe it was 6th or 7th grade, I really had a crush on my classmate. She was my best friend, and I loved her so much, and I wanted to, like, not that, what kind of girlfriends would 7th graders be, like, not anything serious, but more like holding hands and, cuddling, and that's the kind of stuff that I wanted. And so I told her that I loved her in, like, more than a friend way, and I don't know what I was expecting, because she came from a very religious family. They went to church every Sunday. And I don't know why I thought I could get away with telling her, but I told her, and she flipped her shit. She was like, oh my god, I can't talk to you anymore. How could you say this? Oh my god, that's awful. And she like ran off, and I was crying. This was at recess, and I was fucking crying. And I told my mom when I got home, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. I shouldn't have done that. And Mom's like, it's all right. She'll come around. And then later that night, my dad picked up the phone and got a phone call from my friend's parents. And they were pretty upset. They weren't screaming or anything, but they were pretty upset, and they outed me to my dad. And they like wanted to have this whole meeting between all four of the parents, and like, I wasn't allowed to be there, and it was basically, it was just over the phone. It was just my house and her house, and it was a lot less of an ordeal than I thought. Oh my god, are we gonna have to go somewhere and have a meeting or something? No, it was just an over the phone thing. And they talked religion, and they talked acceptance, and they talked, what was acceptable and not. And I was not supposed to be there, but I crept down halfway down the stairs, and I kind of just sat there on the stairs, like, listening. And I think my parents knew I was there, but they didn't really care. But it was a meeting, and I barely remember what they talked about, but like her parents were upset that like, how dare I be gay? How freaking dare I? And my parents were like, even though my dad was very uncomfortable with it, they were still like, look, this is just, something that our child said to your daughter, and it's not like, it doesn't mean anything. They were kind of brushing it off like, it's just something that kids say, so there's a crush happening, it's not a big deal. It's not going to be forever. And like, they kind of brushed it off as a phase, but I don't know exactly what my dad was thinking at the time. But anyway, it was a big ordeal, and she didn't speak to me for freaking months, and I was like traumatized, and I felt awful, and so I just did not tell anybody anything for like the next year and a half until I got to high school, in which I kind of did some soul searching. And I decided, I guess, that I only liked girls. And I was only attracted to girls. And because liking guys just felt weird. And the weirdness is a different kind of weirdness than what I was thinking the weirdness was. But I felt like liking guys was weird. So I decided that I didn't like guys and I was a lesbian. And I went as a lesbian. I told people I was a lesbian all through high school. I mean, when my other friends found out that I was a lesbian, like a couple other religious friends, they were not happy with it. But my coming outs is a whole other video, and I will be going into all my coming outs in another video. So stay tuned for that. And it was really funny because I said I was a lesbian. I told everyone I was a lesbian. And then I invited a guy to the Valentine's dance. And I invited a boy to prom. And I literally, in freshman year, told a boy in my class that I loved him and like passed him a note with my email address on it. Like, I was... I liked boys, though. Like, I liked boys. But no, still a lesbian, though. There was some kind of hang up in there. And I don't know if it was, like, internalized by phobia or if it was dysphoria, because I think it could have been dysphoria. It could have been that I didn't want to be a boy's girlfriend because that felt weird. I didn't want to be a girlfriend, even though I was attracted to women and would have been okay with being a girlfriend there. I didn't want to be a boy's girlfriend. So I just decided, well, that means that I'm not attracted to men, and there I go being attracted to men. It was a strange time. It was a very strange time. And then in college, I got a little more chill. I got on the appropriate medication for my mental illnesses, and I was a lot more level-headed, and I accepted that I was attracted to men. It's like, okay, all right, I'm not a lesbian. And I took on the label pansexual. Why I chose pansexual over bisexual, I don't exactly remember, but I remember being like, yeah, I'm attracted to all genders. It doesn't matter. I'm just attracted to people. And I went with that. And during that time, I was exploring my sexuality for the first time, and I was finding out what I liked, and it was exciting and new, and I realized at the time that it was around that time that I realized that I really only wanted to be sexual as a man, and I didn't really feel comfortable being sexual in the body or as the gender that I, at the time, thought I was. After college is when it got more confusing, because I had come out as non-binary. I had been like accepting myself as not a woman, and I thought that, I like everyone, so everyone's gay if they like me. And I liked that. That was fun to be like, it doesn't matter who likes me, because if you date me, you're gay. And that just made me feel nice and warm and fuzzy. But as I was discovering more about my gender identity, I realized that I had never really thought about sex with women. It wasn't something that I ever thought about. When I was in high school, I didn't think much about sex concerning myself. I mean, I read fan fiction, but I wasn't really like internalizing that on myself. So it just wasn't something that entered my mind. I didn't read like lesbian erotica or anything. And so when I thought about it, and I thought about all the experiences that I'd had, that I only ever thought of myself with a man, and I only ever thought of myself as a man. And it kind of clicked in my head that I'm not bisexual. I'm not pansexual. I was attracted to men. I'm sexually attracted to men. But I'm still otherwise attracted to everyone. I think girls are so pretty, and I want them to cuddle me, and I want to smooch them. And I think I had a date mate, my only relationship that I've ever been in, which was for a week, and it was with a non-binary person, and I had my first kiss, and it was really nice, and we're still friends, and it was a perfectly fine relationship, but I wasn't like, it never got sexual. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I don't know if I would, be sexual with anyone who wasn't a man. And it was enlightening, and it was also kind of scary because I had spent like the majority of my life thinking that I was, definitely sexually attracted to women, even though I had never actually had that thought. I had never thought about it. I just kind of assumed. But I came to terms with my gender and my sexuality about the same time. I was like, you know what? I'm biromantic, and I identify as biromantic because I am aesthetically and romantically attracted to all genders, and would be perfectly happy to be in a non-sexual relationship with anyone. But because I want to pursue that part of a relationship, I've taken on the identity of just gay. Like, I'm a gay man because I want a boyfriend, because I want a sexual relationship. It's something that I'm looking for, something that I feel like I need. Like, I'm definitely not ace. But other than that, I feel the same way that I felt about women my whole life, because I had never thought of women in a sexual manner. So I'm still attracted to women in the same way that I have always been attracted to women. But that doesn't mean that I really want to be in a long-term relationship with any of them. So taking on this gay identity is new for me, but it's also, I feel good about it. I feel like this is where I'm at this point in my life, and I accept that my sexuality could fluctuate, just like I accept that my gender identity could fluctuate. I'm totally open for that. I'm open to it. I'm ready for, if anything changes, I will not, feel weird about it anymore, because I was feeling weird every time that I ended up having to change my sexuality or change my gender identity. I thought that there was something wrong, that like I didn't get it right that time. But maybe, maybe my sexuality and my gender identity is just something that fluctuates, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that's about it. So that's been my journey from being bisexual to lesbian to pansexual to gay, with like 3 gender identities in there. And it's been convoluted, but I feel comfortable where I am now. And I hope that, I hope I get a boyfriend. I hope one day I get a boyfriend, and I'm looking forward to that as a life experience, because I've never had a boyfriend before. And I thought, maybe after COVID, I'd be able to pursue a romantic relationship. So, crossing our fingers. Wish me luck. And thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week. Mwah!